Now, Effective Communication with Phil Zeller, CEO, Dale Carnegie, Southwest Michigan.
Have you ever sat through that presentation? You know the presentation, the one that dragged on and on and on. And you're like, I got to get out of here. This is driving me nuts. Where's this going? Hey, just send me the information. Send me the notes. I'm all good. You're just reading off the teleprompter or the screen. Send me the notes. I'm all good. The time is of the essence here. Well, if you ever sat through one of those presentations, and hopefully you've never given one of those presentations where you just read off the teleprompter or you just basically went over a PowerPoint and read the screen said, because if you did, you know what, just email it, just send it. I'll do it on my time, right? And that's what people are thinking. And the reality is that people always say, well, you know what? It's not that easy to give a presentation. Well, nobody said anything is easy. What you do for a living is not easy. The work that you put in every single day to get really good at what you do takes time. And when you're giving a presentation, you know, there's certain things that you can do when you're getting your message across. And it's not to rely on PowerPoint as the complete presentation. You are the presenter. It is your information that you are presenting. And, you know, we always say this whenever we go listen to somebody speak, or somebody comes to a class, or somebody listens to an instructor, or even listen to somebody running a meeting, a manager, and you expect that that person running that meeting has got knowledge. We say knowledge is the price of entry. If you go into any meeting or any learning environment or to any presentation, any convention, you expect to learn something. You expect some knowledge to come from whoever is giving the presentation. And what really makes presentations stick is when a person can connect whatever they're sharing with on a personal level with you, the audience member. So one of the ways that over the years that Dale Carnegie documented is ways to get our ideas across, to have the confidence to be able to share things that we know without having to get stuck and use PowerPoint as a crutch for all the confidence that we need, and really finding different ways to do it. And I'm going to share with you today some different unique things you can do so that your presentation doesn't sound canned. And this is if you're even running a Zoom meeting right now, a Zoom session or a WebEx session, or maybe you're on Microsoft Teams or Google Hangouts or wherever you're at right now and you're running these different things online with your teams, and you're communicating to people. There's certain things you can do. Well, there's one thing you could do right now, which is really cool in this world right now, where a lot of us are telecommunicating. We're remote and we're using our computers. You can actually use sticky notes and put them around your screen for your presentation. It's kind of a cool thing to do. Start in the lower left-hand corner, work your way all the way around, and each point that you want to cover, make a brief note about the point and put it around your screen. So as you move around your screen, you're basically able to cover all your points that you want to cover. That's one cool thing you can do online. One of the coolest things I ever saw, I had a friend of mine that was a presenter. He'd been a presenter for years and just an amazing guy. But as he got older and he got into his mid-80s, he started to realize he started to slip on some of the things, and he didn't remember if he covered what he wanted to cover. So what he did with his suit, he wore a suit with all the pockets. So he had the inside pockets, the outside pockets. And what he did was he put different objects in his pockets to remind him of what he wanted to cover in his presentation. It could be a note, it could be a pen, it could have been a trinket, it could have been whatever. But what was really cool that nobody in the audience noticed, but he would start with his inside left pocket and pull out the first thing and have it in his hand, what he wanted to talk about. And as soon as he was done talking about that thing, he would set that down on the table. Then he would go to the next pocket and reach in there and pull out the next thing and remind him to talk about the next thing he wanted to talk about. And then when he was done with that, he set that down on the table. Now, the audience, the group of the meeting, had no idea he was doing this, but of course, this is something I do for a living, so I'm paying close attention. I thought, how cool is that? He found a way at his age to stay on top of his game. And what he realized is if he did stick his hand into a pocket, there was nothing there. He knew he already covered that in his presentation. So I thought that was a really cool approach to be able to work through a presentation. So if you're in a Zoom meeting or your WebEx call and you're using your computer, put notes around the outside of the screen of things you want to cover. And make it more owned by you rather than just regurgitating what it says on a PowerPoint. Own your presentation. Use the tactic if you're standing in front of a group. Use your pockets. Another thing I've done in the past is put objects around the room, strategically place them. Now you got to hope that nobody moves those objects when you go left to right. But these are different things you can do to help yourself. And as Dale Carnegie said, just make brief notes of what you want to cover so you can focus on owning your presentation and not your presentation owning you. So make those brief notes, have more impact with your presentations, and your crowd will get to learn from you and not a PowerPoint.